Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to another video. Today the topic of our video is Sir Syed Ahmed Khan. Sir Syed Ahmed Khan, also called Syed Ahmed, also spelled as Ahmed, born October 17, 1870, Delhi, and died on 27th March 1898 in Aligarh, India. Muslim educator, journalist, and author, founder of Anglo-Mohammedan Oriental College at Aligarh, and the principal motivating force behind the revival of India Islam in the late 19th century. His work in Urdu, including essays on the life of Muhammad, 1970, and centuries on the Bible and on the Quran. In 1888, he was made a Knight Commander of a Star of India. Sayyid's family, though progressive, was highly regarded by the dying Mughal dynasty. His father, who received an allowance from the Mughal administration, became something of a religious recluse. His maternal grandfather had twice served as prime minister of the Mughal Empire of his time, and had also held position of the trust under the East India Company. Sayyid's brother established one of the first printing presses at Delhi and started one of the earliest newspaper in Urdu, the principal language of the Muslim of northern India. The death of Sayyid's father left the family in financial difficulties, and after the limited education, Sayyid had to work for his livelihood. Starting a clerk with the East India Company in 1838, he qualified 3 years later as a sub-judge and served in the judicial department at various places. Syed Ahmed had a versatile personality, and his position in the judicial department left him time to active in many fields. His career as an author started at the age of 23 with religious track. In 1847, he brought out a noteworthy books on the antiquities of the Delhi. Even more important was his pamphlets, The Cause of the India Revolt. During the Indian Mutiny of 1857, he had taken the side of the British, but in this booklet he ably and fearlessly laid bare the weakness and error of the British administration that had led to dissatisfaction and a countrywide explosion. Widely read British officials, it had considerable influence on British policy. His interest in religion was also active and lifelong. He began a sympathetic interpretation of the Bible, wrote essay on the life of Muhammad sallam in English, and found time to write several volumes of a modernized commentary on the Quran. In this work, he sought to harmonize the Islamic faith with the scientific and political progress Indian ideas of his time. The supreme interest of Sayyid's life was, however, education in its widest sense. He began by establishing school at Muradabad and Ghazipur. A more ambitious undertaking was the foundation of the Scientific Society, which published translation of many educational texts and issued a bilingual journal in Urdu and English. These institutions were for the use of all citizens and were jointly operated by Hindus and Muslims. In the late 1860s, these occurred development that they were the altered the course of his activity. In 1867, he was transferred to Benares, a city on the Ganges with great religious significance for the Hindus. At about the same time, a movement and started a Benares to replace Urdu, the language cultivated by the Muslims, with Hindi. This movement and the attempt of substitution Hindi for Urdu in the publications of the Scientific Society convinced Sayyid that the path of the Hindus and Muslims must diverge. Thus, when during a visit to England, 1867 to 70, he prepared a plan for a great education institution. They were for a Muslim Cambridge. On his return to set up a committee for the purpose, and also started an influential journal, Tabligh Akhlaq, for the uplift and perform of the Muslim. A Muslim school was established at Aligarh in May 1875, and after his retirement in 1876, Syed evolved himself to enlarging it into a college. Until the founding of the Muslim League in 1906, it was the principal national center of Indian Islam. Sayyid advised the Muslims against joining activity politics and to concentrate instead on education. Later, when some Muslims joined the Indian National Congress, he came out strongly against the organization and its objectives, which include establishment of parliament democracy in India. He argued that in a country where communal divisions were all important and education and political organization were confined to a few classes, parliamentary democracy would work only in equitable. Muslims generally followed his advice and abstained from politics until several years later, when they have established their own political organization. Education can be thought of as the transmission of the values and accumulated knowledge of a society. In this sense it is equivalent to what the social scientists termed or inculturation questions. Children, whether convinced among new Genoa tribes people, the Russians, or the middle class of Montahata, are born without culture. Education is designed to guide them in learning a culture, modeling their behavior in the way of adulthood, and directing toward their eventual role in society. In the most primate culture, and there is often little formal learning, little of what one would ordinarily call school and classes or teacher. Instead, the entire environment and all activities are frequently viewed as school and classes, and many or all adults act as a teacher. As societies grown up complex, however, the quantity of knowledge to be passed on from one generation to the next becomes more than one person can know, and hence there must evolve more selective and efficient means of culture transmission. The outcome is formal education, the school, and the specialist called the teacher. Thank you so much for watching my video.